In late June 2023, we traveled to Israel for our nephew's wedding. We were there in a much happier time than the current tragedy. Our hearts go out to the innocent victims and their families on both sides of the conflict. Following the wedding, we spent most of July on a private tour of Israel, Jordan, and Egypt, put together by Kensington Tours. The tour company did an excellent job, and this has been one of our favorite vacations. This video has two parts. The first part provides a historical perspective of the region. We show the various archaeological sites in the chronological order in which they were built, rather than in the order we encountered them on the tour. The second part of the video provides a contemporary view of the region, showing current cities, natural wonders, and a selection of animals we encountered. In Saqqara, the first stone pyramid built was the step pyramid built by the pharaoh Djoser between 2670 and 2650 BC. Each pyramid holds the tomb of a single pharaoh, a family member, or other high-ranking individual. The Ben Pyramid is in Dashur, approximately 7 miles south of the step pyramid. Construction began as a smooth, four-sided pyramid. It is believed that structural instability led the ancient engineers to change to a shallower angle midway up. The pyramid was built for Pharaoh Sneferu around 2600 BC. There are 3 major pyramids and 6 smaller ones in Giza. The largest, the Great Pyramid, was built for Pharaoh Khufu. It was built around 2560 BC. An average stone in the pyramid weighs 2.5 tons. Getting to the burial chamber involves walking through a tunnel 3 feet high created by tomb robbers. The Great Sphinx of Giza is made from limestone. It has the face of a human and the body of a lion. It was believed to be built by Pharaoh Khafre around 2550 BC. It is 240 feet long and 66 feet high. It was carved from the bedrock where it was found. It was built to guard Khafre's pyramid. Karnak Temple was built between 2055 BC and 100 AD. It is the largest building built for religious purposes. It was built by Ramses II, the great builder. Valleys of the kings and queens are valleys on opposite sides of a mountain. The Valley of the Kings contains at least 65 tombs, including the tomb of Tutankhamun. The valleys were used for burial between 1539 and 1075 BC. The use of pyramids was abandoned because they were too obvious and susceptible to robbers. Tutankhamun became a pharaoh at the age of 9 and died 10 years later at age 19. His accomplishments were not very significant. However, his tomb was well hidden and avoided pillage through the ages. As a result, it provided modern Egyptologists with the most complete picture of a tomb from ancient Egypt. Abu Simbel consisted of 2 temples carved out of sandstone cliff. The temples were built by King Ramses II between 1264 and 1244 BC. When the Aswan High Dam was built in 1964, the sandstone carvings were cut and moved to higher ground to avoid submersion by the rising waters of the Nasser Reservoir. The Philae Temple is part of the Nubian village. The Nubians are indigenous to southern Egypt and northern Sudan. The temple was built around 690 BC to honor the Egyptian god Isis. The temple was moved to rescue it from rising waters of the reservoir. Jerusalem holds sites sacred to both Jews and Muslims in close proximity. The western wall remains from the Second Temple. The first temple, built during the reign of King Solomon, was built in the 10th century BC. The first temple was destroyed in 587 BC. The second temple was erected in 516 BC and stood until 70 AD. Little Petra and Petra are adjacent to each other and were built in southern Jordan around 312 BC. Petra was originally a stopping point in trade between Arabia and the Mediterranean. One enters Petra via a slot canyon. At the end of the canyon, the famous treasury is revealed. It is carved into the sandstone and is 120 feet high. Its original use is unclear, possibly a temple, a place to store documents, or a graveyard. Movie buffs may recognize the facade from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. The Temple of Edfu was built between 237 and 57 BC. It was built to honor the gods Horus and Hathor. Kom Ombo was built around 180 BC. It is dedicated to two deities, Sobek with a crocodile head and Horus with a falcon head. Crocodiles were mummified to honor Sobek. The Masada was the site of a palace built by King Herod between 37 BC and 4 AD, overlooking the Dead Sea. It was occupied by the survivors of the Jewish revolt that met violent destruction by the Romans in 73 AD. Beit She'an was one of the oldest cities in the region. Under Byzantine rule, it had a mixed population of Christians, pagans, Jews, and Samaritans. The monastery of St. George of Joziba is located in the West Bank near the town of Jericho. The monastery was founded in the 5th century and is still in use today by Greek Orthodox monks. Al-Aqsa Mosque is believed by Muslims to be the site where the Prophet Muhammad led his fellow prophets in prayer and from which he ascended to heaven. It is one of Islam's 3 holiest sites. Via Doloroso is the path Jesus Christ was forced to walk by Roman soldiers on the way to his crucifixion. The name translates to Way of Suffering. Here we see a group following that path, stopping at one of the 14 stations of the cross. Qalat Namrud is a fortress built in approximately 1228 AD in the Golan Heights. It was the only Crusades fortress built in the Holy Land. The town of Tzafat came to prominence in the 12th century. It is in the Galilee region and is the highest city in Israel. It is known for the study of Jewish mysticism. The Abu Hav synagogue, shown in the photo, was built in the 15th century. The State of Israel was established in 1948 by UN Resolution 181, which partitioned the region. The British, who controlled the territory prior to 1948, opposed partitioning and wanted to prevent fighting between the Israelis and the surrounding Arab countries. However, the Israelis, recognizing war was inevitable, needed to manufacture arms in secret. These photos show a secret bullet factory hidden under a laundry facility on a kibbutz. As part of the Six-Day War in June 1967, Israel captured the strategic Golan Heights from which Syria was attacking Israeli settlements. These photos show some of the Syrian bunkers. We got to visit the Dead Sea and had an opportunity to swim in a pool filled with the high salt content water from the Dead Sea. The amount of buoyancy was incredible. Modern-day Jerusalem is a mixture of historic religious sites and small shops. In the video, we see people praying at the Western Wall. Men and women are separated by a partition. Magda Watts survived Auschwitz and Nuremberg. She created rag dolls from strips torn from her prison uniform that she traded to the guards in exchange for extra bread that saved her and her sisters' lives. After immigrating to Israel, she began making the cartoonish dolls shown in the photos. Today, the cost for a doll begins at $1,500 and is a collector's item. Tel Aviv is a modern city that is less tied to religion than Jerusalem. We walked through the famous Carmel Market. While we were in Tel Aviv, we saw some protests against the proposed changes to the Israeli Supreme Court. Today, the Golan Heights has a scenic lookout and whimsical sculptures in addition to the remnants of the Six-Day War shown earlier. Wadi Rum is in the south of Jordan. Wadi means valley or dry ravine. The area has magnificent rock formations. We stayed in one of the luxurious geodesic domes shown in the photos. As part of our tour, we had lunch in a Bedouin home. The two brothers in the photographs are 5 and 9 years old and were our hosts. Their sisters prepared the meal but remained out of sight. The fellow grinding coffee beans by hand was our driver for the day and was also a cousin of the Bedouin family that hosted us.
There's a way of drinking Bedouin coffee. Saud is the cardamom you see.
Okay.
Qasr al-Yahud is on the bank of the Jordan River. It is where John baptized Christ, also where the Israelites are thought to have crossed into the Promised Land. White robes are available for rent, and people go there to be baptized. We learned that locals pronounce the name of Jordan's capital Amman. We drove there from Petra to catch an airplane to Cairo. On the trip north, we came across an old VW Beetle that a man rents out as the smallest hotel in the world. We spent a day in Cairo touring the Giza pyramids before embarking on our Nile River cruise. Our hotel was adjacent to the Giza pyramids and provided some great views. The best pita bread I've ever had was made by a woman working at a brick oven at a restaurant near the pyramids. We flew from Cairo to Luxor to pick up our 5-day, 4-night cruise on the Nile River on a boat called the Historia. When we arrived at the boat, we were greeted by musicians and a tenora traditional dancer. A different form of entertainment was provided on board the ship each evening before dinner. Several photos show men working and boys playing along the Nile. At one point, we came to a lock so that the boat could be raised to the higher level of the river. At the lock, various vendors and rowboats negotiated sales of towels to passengers on the boat.
Excuse me, my friend. My friend. If you look this way.
Yeah, 100%.
She like the blue one.
The blue one is different quality. This is leather camel.
Okay, then we take it back then. I don't have appointment to see you. I don't have money.
I think it's small. US dollars, small money.
I don't have.
US dollars.
Here. Here.
Change?
Huh?
Change?
Exchange.
But it's too much.
Well, see,
Hey,
both together. Not
excuse
happy.
me. This is A. This is camel wool. Look.
No. Here, please.
Okay. Okay, change. Give me more 200.
I don't have it.
Exchange.
I give you 100.
Hey,
100.
no, 200. That's good price for you. Thank you.
That's my
No,
last.
200, but because
No,
hey,
okay,
because I have problem. No. Okay.
I don't have any more.
50. No. Thank you.
No. Okay, take it.
Okay, my
Yeah, take it back. Take it
from the front.
The last section of this video shows various photos of camels which are ubiquitous in the region, as well as some birds and other animals. We had an opportunity to ride camels 3 times, although once would have been enough. We both agreed that this was one of our most interesting trips, and were happy to have had the opportunity.